Hello, hello. It's Karen Yankovich, and I am here today in our Summer of Strategy series, where I'm coming to you, mostly every day with some simple LinkedIn strategy tips that you can implement to use this platform in a way that really elevates your business, really elevates your life, really elevates your brand, and frankly, really elevates your bank balance, right? So that's what I'm here to talk about today. And if you're here with me live, we are live on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube and Twitter. Please drop your comments in or your questions in as I'm live. I'm happy to answer them. If you are watching on the replay, same thing. Drop your comments in. I'm happy to respond to them. And we're going to jump in. So first of all, when I talk about LinkedIn strategy, the strategy really is around relationship building, not really around content. Yeah, there's a content component to it, but I frankly don't really care how many people see my content. I mean, yeah, if more people see it, that's great, but I don't focus. That is not the main focus of the strategies that I teach. The main focus of the strategies I teach is how do you get on the phone with people? People that, and we're going to talk about that today, the different types of people that I teach my students to focus on. And because here's the deal, like, yeah, you want to have content, you want to show up as an influencer, you want to show up as a leader, you want to show up as credible and confident and all that good stuff. And it's also a little like cross your fingers marketing, right? Like, is somebody going to see this content? Is the right person going to see this content? And is there really a path to growing my business profits with those people seeing the content? So again, not saying that that's not important. I'm saying that alone to me is not a strategy that's really going to accelerate your business growth. So basically what we're talking about today is three different types of content three different types of connections that I think we should be making on LinkedIn on a consistent basis, right? And this is building our network. Obviously, we've got an existing network. There's all kinds of other things we can talk about, but this is strictly from as you're building your network standpoint. And here's the deal. If you are not building your network, then you are just reactive and your network is kind of chaotic, right? But if you are consistent and you send out not 100, 5 connection requests every week, 5 connection requests every week, every single week, in 6 months, you're going to have a network full of really powerhouse people that you have chosen to connect with, not just being reactive to people that connect with you, right? So when I think about what those kinds of people are, there's 3 different types of people. Obviously, we're here to grow our businesses. We're here to do networking for our business. So we want to be strategic about who might be a good prospect for that. However, there's a big difference between, hey, I'm Karen, here's what I do, give me your credit card, right? And some of the other things I'm going to teach today. That's not my favorite way of approaching people, right? I think that, yes, we're here. And if you see an opportunity for that, we don't want to overlook that. And we've got lots of strategies for that in our She's Linked Up program on how to do that. But that's category number 1, right? Who might be a good prospect? Let's not overlook that. But if we're creating a totem pole, that's the bottom of the totem pole. The next category, and actually we're not going to create a totem pole because I think the second category that I want to talk about is probably the most important category, and that is people who know people who know people who know people. Having conversations with people strategically, that instead of saying, here's what I do, give me your credit card, it's here's what I do, who do you know? So now that outreach is done in a way that you're looking to be collaborative. You are looking to be of service to them as much as they're looking to be of service to you, right? So it's a lot easier to build relationships that way. And even though it feels like a step in between getting the client contract signed, the reality is it's often a faster path to growing your bank account because first of all, you've got their credibility. You're borrowing their credibility when they refer you to people, when they say things like, well, let me introduce you to my colleague, Mary. She is totally going to want to hear what you've got. I think it's going to be a great fit. Now, Mary, I'm coming to Mary with credibility, right? Not ice cold calling. Even if I reached out to that first person on a kind of cold level, and I don't want you to ever reach out cold. There's, again, strategies in my program that teach you to never have to reach out to anyone cold. But thinking about strategically, thinking about connecting with 1 or 2 or 3 people every week that have an audience of people that might be a good fit for you, and vice versa, right? These are the things that this is what accelerates your business growth. 100%. This is what accelerates your business growth. So this is that category right there is my number one way of growing my business. I don't know if anybody here that's watching this has ever seen me reach out to them and say, hey, here's what I do, buy my stuff, right? If we're having enrollment conversations, of course, I'm going to continue to reach out to you about that. But my first conversations are just providing value, doing these kinds of things, doing my podcast, right? And then from there, looking to see where, kind of where it goes down. And I can tell you right now, there are people that are enrolling in my program like this month that I can trace back to a connection I made, this people who know people who know people, that a connection that I made maybe like 5 years ago. When you start doing this, it spider webs into this massively valuable network. So that's the second category. I can talk about that forever. And then the third category, and this is what a lot of people overlook, and I want to make sure that you are not overlooking this, is who are the journalists, the podcast hosts, the TV hosts, the radio hosts that talk about what you are expert in, and are you building relationships with them? They're the easiest ones because they're prolific, right? Like I'm a podcast host. I send out a podcast every week, right? If you want to be a guest on my podcast, we have a guest application and blah, blah, blah. And I get a lot of applications every single week. But if you want to stand out in my eyes and you're sharing my podcast episodes and building and connecting with me and saying, Karen, I really loved episode 125. I'm implementing those strategies right now. And then you continue to stay connected with me and build a relationship. It's a much faster path to getting to me to interview on my podcast than just cold pitching me, right? And they're prolific, right? Because they're creating content. So think about who are the journalists in your industry. If there's an industry magazine or industry newspaper, like go on the search and find who's writing about what you do and start building relationships with them. Again, our She's Linked Up program teaches all of the strategy in it. We deep dive into the PR because I do think the PR gives you credibility. We're on LinkedIn to land the big, fat, juicy contracts, right? And to get a big, fat, juicy contract, any credibility we can have, just seen in Forbes, things like that, helps us land those contracts. So that is my strategy for you today. If you want to know what it looks like, hang on one second. If you want to know what it looks like to be a part of our program, or just in general, what it looks like to get some support with this, just get a call on our calendar, KarenYankovich.com/call, get you to the calendar. I would love to chat with you, and I'll be back here tomorrow. And by the way, drop a comment below if there's something that I haven't talked about yet in this series that you'd like to hear me talk about. I'd love to do that. And if you go to my YouTube channel, it's Karen Yankovich, you'll see a playlist of all of these videos. So you can binge watch them a little bit there. And the last thing is, we started doing weekly LinkedIn profile reviews here on LinkedIn. If you want me to review your profile and give you profile tips live, drop your LinkedIn, drop a note below, drop your LinkedIn URL if you're not commenting on LinkedIn so I can find you, and I will add you to our list for this week. Okay, we're just starting this, so we don't have a lot of mojo going yet with people with requesting it, so I can get you in this week. All right, so drop a comment in below if you'd like me to review your profile this week, and I will see you back here again tomorrow.